Um, yeah. Okay. So, do you have a favorite memory with Kat, or a story maybe, just with working with her?
Uh, we've known each other less than a year,
Yeah.
so we haven't developed, I don't think, nothing pops to mind. When I think about the friends that I've known for 20 years, there's a grand menu to choose from.
Yeah.
But we don't have that length of time.
Right. Right. Yeah. Um, when I asked her this question, she she was saying that during the election, she was very anxious, and you would
Yeah.
yeah, you would continually tell her to don't choose fear.
Yeah, I did.
And I remember you said that the first time I met you, when she was expressing some fear about the election. And I was wondering if you could like elaborate on that, why you believe that, and
Oh, that's a spiritual journey.
yeah,
It's a spiritual journey.
yeah,
Most of what's in your head is there by choice.
mm,
So if something's in your head and you decide, hey, wait, I don't like that, you actually can choose to change it,
yeah,
especially if you're mentally healthy.
right,
Or in order to gain mental health, you just change the channel. So, I don't know, 30-something years ago, um, I was changing the tapes in my head, also getting rid of my last wife.
yeah,
And I didn't get rid of her.
right,
We
right,
parted company, okay?
right,
Um, but that's when I learned how many choices I have, and that was in my head.
yeah, yeah,
And that it's stuck with me, so that I don't choose fear, I don't choose pain, or anxiety, or depression. Um, I choose. It's not like I go to some Pollyanna, happy place. But I've lived a long time, and there's some pretty happy stuff up in my head.
yeah,
And I know that if I've had this fear thought, anger thoughts, those are the ones that crop up more often than fear thoughts.
yeah,
And I can replay scenes in my head from when I was angry, because there's some juice associated with anger. You can get energy from that.
right, right,
So I just went, oh, wait. You don't get to be in my head right now. You don't get to be in my apartment. I wouldn't invite you in here otherwise. You can't be here in my head either.
yeah,
And banish that. So when I can, um, then I'll encourage people to just choose something else.
yeah, mm, mm-mm. Um,
This is some sage advice from an old guy.
yeah,
I haven't been old very long, Tara. You have to understand that.
mm-hmm.
Excuse me, it's still new to me.
Yeah, I like that. How old are you?
In March, I'll be 70.
Gotcha. Okay, so some just background information about you. You said you've been in Charleston for about 20 years now?
Next March, it'll be 20 years.
Okay. And how'd you come to Charleston?
Oh, that was easy. My dad retired here in the late 1960s. He was in the Air Force. So
Gotcha.
I had already left home. So this is where I came for the holidays
Yeah.
from wherever I was.
Mm-hmm.
And when I had a choice in late 1996, actually, to choose to go anywhere,
Yeah.
because I was leaving New York City, I knew that.
Yeah.
What was going to be next. And my parents were aging.
Mm-hmm.
They were my age now.
Uh-huh.
Ah!
Uh-huh.
So I came here.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And both of your parents have passed away now. Is that right?
Yes, they have.
Gotcha. And why did you say you knew you were going to get out of New York City?
Oh, I wasn't making enough money to live there.
Gotcha.
Not even close.
Yeah.
Excuse me. And I was spending a great deal of time trying to find peace and quiet. And then I'm fond of saying, here it is my by God birthright. Yeah. So there were things that I liked about New York, but not enough to keep me there. Certainly not enough to keep me there, not making enough money to stay.
Yeah. What were you doing there? Were you doing...
As an actor.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, that was my career before I got to Charleston.
Gotcha. Interesting. So you got to Charleston and then became a historian?
No, I started working for a guy who made cigar humidors.
Cigar.
And I was polishing them. I was the finishing department.
You said they were You said they were cigar what? Sorry.
Sorry?
You said they were cigar what's?
Humidors.
Humidors.
The box you keep cigars in.
Yeah, okay.
So I polished them to a mirror finish.
Gotcha.
That was my job.
Yeah.
And then I was also working as an usher at Joe Riley Stadium so I could watch baseball.
Yeah.
I was also working at the market selling hats.
Yep.
And seems to me I had a third job too, but I don't remember what it was.
Yeah.
So then I really wanted to make furniture.
Yeah.
And finally, about a year later, got a job with a guy who built furniture and restored antiques.
Yeah.
And 10 days on the job, I cut my hand on the table saw. So then I was a one-handed furniture maker for a little while.
Yeah.
And so I just moved into the finishing department and started polishing things the way I had polished the humidors.
Yeah.
And then I decided I didn't like making furniture at all. I liked making it pretty. Because making furniture is about noise and dust. I already knew I didn't like that.
Yeah.
So I became very good at making furniture pretty and studied very hard at replicating historically appropriate finishes on antique furniture.
Yeah.
So I had to study chemistry and stuff, and then furniture was coming in the shop that my boss wasn't touching. And he was making hundreds of dollars, and I was making dozens of dollars. But okay, I can do this on my own. Then I set up my own shop. And that lasted until the economy tanked.
Yeah.
Then I became a historian.
Gotcha. Okay, so give me a time frame here as far as when you opened your shop and then when you became a historian. Can you tell me about what years?
Yeah. I started working for this guy in 1998. That's when I cut my hand.
Yeah.
And then in 2003,
yeah,
I opened my own shop.
Gotcha.
It was in North Charleston. And then the economy tanked in 2008. I held on until 2009.
Right.
And then I had already taken the tour guide test.
Gotcha.
So then that's what I was doing.
Gotcha. Interesting. And then so when did you go to work on the plantation?
On the what?
At the plantation?
Oh, they just opened last year.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah, they just opened in April last year.
Got you. Okay, interesting. So, why did you choose to be a guide?
Well, I'm terminally curious. So when I first got to Charleston, I'm going to cough just a second.
Yeah.
When I first got to Charleston, I would walk around town, usually on Sundays, and just look at everything.
Yeah.
And then I had questions about everything.
Yeah.
So I set about answering those questions.
Sure.
And this was the days before there was an internet or Google.
Yeah.
You know, we had computers, but it was really primitive.
Yeah.
So I couldn't do that. So I would go to the library. Finally, a friend of mine had an old tour guide handbook,
Yeah.
the one from the 1980s.
Yeah.
And so I read that and started telling people stories when they come to visit me.
Yeah.
And when you live in Charleston, everybody comes to visit.
Right.
So it was not a big leap for me.
Yeah.
And the language of furniture, the elements of furniture, is the same as the language of architecture. Yeah.
How's
So
that?
that wasn't hard. That wasn't hard either.
Speak more about that. What do you mean?
Well, the classical styles of architecture are the same
Yeah.
in classical styles of furniture.
Gotcha.
And you still have, you know, columns and plinths and capitals, and it's just really similar.
Yeah, sure. Interesting. Okay, so as far as it was interesting when I was walking around Charleston a couple weeks ago, I guess. I would overhear different tour guides talking as I walked past them. And some of them were pretty frank about slavery and oppression in Charleston, while others were more flowery maybe, or maybe passive, or just kind of scooted around the fact. I remember one tour guide boldly claiming, you know, we can't talk about Charleston without talking about slavery, while another one was
Right.
like, yeah, there were some slaves, as they were passing.
Slaves! Jeez, that makes my eyes bleed. Yeah.
Right. So very interesting, just to be able to pick up on it from walking around.
Yeah. Good job. Good job.
But I'm wondering, like, in your tour guiding, before you started Surge and before you got into racial justice work, how did you view the city and its past in that way? And yeah, I guess that's my question.
Well, once I know the truth, I can't go back.
Yeah.
And the more research that I did, it became really obvious that some